Hello, everyone. This is John Cash Philippi with Gaming and Leisure Voice. I am here with Adam Lopez, the president of Las Vegas and CMIT Solutions. It's a running joke with us, but yeah, he is the president of CMIT Solutions, and we're going to talk today about staff augmentation, something that's near and dear to my heart because I've always wondered if it's better to staff up or to use other companies to help us augment our IT staffs. But before we get into all that, Gaming Leisure Voice, we're fortunate enough to have a couple of sponsors. So let's hear from our first one. Agilysys helps the gaming industry realize its full potential through exceptional technology that goes beyond what other tech providers have trained hospitality to expect. We build our state-of-the-art hospitality-focused software for continuous innovation, industry-leading data sharing, maximum flexibility for best-of-breed performance, and smooth ecosystem integration, and an always-learning guest profile engine so you can create personal experiences. It's time for hospitality to go beyond with technology from Agilysys. Welcome back, everyone. Adam, why don't we start off with you telling everybody a little bit about yourself? I mean, we've known each other since 2014 or 15, back when we were both out in Oklahoma. But I'm sure everyone else would like to know a lot more about you.
Yeah, thanks, John. Basically, been in casino gaming for over 20 years. I got my first start at Hard Rock in Vegas when it opened up back in, was it 97? I was the backstage pass attendant, giving the cards out to people. And then I fell in love with casinos since then. I went the slot route and became a slot technician, and then, worked at Caesar's Palace here in Vegas. And then I was like, hey, you know what? They have a cruise ship that it kind of sails around the world. So why don't I go out there and work for the cruise ship? So I did that for about 5 years with Caesars and enjoyed it. Met some great people at Caesars. Worked with Joe Starr, legends in the industry such as Mike Bonoctar, Hina Reed. All those guys that's been in the industry for years, and just enjoyed working with them. And then kind of grew up through the industry. As we know, slot machines kind of went into the direction of IT, because all back then when we were at Caesars, we were coin, and then we went to Tito, right? We were that through that revolution. And when I saw that revolution, I was like, hey, I might as well, let's see if we can move forward and be very efficient on IT and move in that direction. So I started getting involved with IT databases and CRM systems. And, I kind of fell into the lab, worked at Bally Technologies for a few years. After that, went to Viz Explorer, worked with those guys. And then after that, went to Golden Entertainment, Hard Rock Entertainment, and then also Goodwill of Southern Nevada. So been around the block a few times, but, as us all casino people are in the same industry, love being here and love the industry.
That's great. I mean, you have the breadth of experience, obviously. I mean, like we've noticed that we've actually trampled over each other on
Right.
a few occasions. So it's been great. That we have one of those wonderful industries that allows us to really kind of spread our wings and go different places and do different things. So Adam, why don't we start with just explaining to everyone what staff augmentation is for those who don't understand it, at least for the IT world, and how it fits.
Sure. So I think, I should say, I know the industry is changing in IT. We're always being asked to strengthen our budget, right? And where does that come down to is usually head count or, understanding optimization. Because I think as you as well, John, as a IT leader, understand is keeping your guys 100% occupied, 100% utilized. So that way, at the end of the day, you can pull out reports to your senior executive team and says, hey, my team is utilized 100%. Where staff augmentation has been great at, where we've been very successful at, is teaming people up with certain skill sets to kind of dive in to help, casino operators, hospitals, hotels, stuff like that in time of need. So instead of you going out and saying, hey, I just really need this niche guy for a network job that I have going on, or a niche guy I need for a cybersecurity audit or this, that's where we come in place, where we can kind of help you out to understand what are those niches, and then kind of pull back and understand the needs for that, and then understand like an affordable model that you can kind of lay into your executive team and say, hey, this is what we can present to you. We don't have to hire a full-time guy. What we can do, or young lady, what we can do is we can actually portray and say, hey, we have a network engineer from CMIT Solutions. We can give you for 4 hours a week, 10 hours a week, whatever it may be, to get you through that project. What's nice about that, instead of going to a typical staffing agency where they're requiring you to hire this person for 40 hours a week, what we do is we offset that cost with you with three or four other entities and say, hey, he's 4 hours here or 8 hours here, he's 4 hours here, or she is. And what that does is spread that kind of that bottom line out for me, as well as for you as well as the IT leader, to say, hey, I have a network guy come in once a week. He kind of checks my network lines, makes sure all my routers, all my switches, all my firewalls are set up correctly. And then he kind of goes on his way. And then I have a kind of checklist when he comes back the following week and say, hey, let's do this, let's do this. And you can be real strategic with him or her, and they can then fulfill your needs for that kind of that JD you're looking for to fill.
Cool. Now, I guess it's hard to come up with a good cost benefit to staff augmentation. I mean, we're also used to every time I see a consulting fee, it's between 250 and $500 an hour to come in and sit down. And I know you talked a little bit about niche stuff, but you also talked about filling just positions like a support desk or something like that. Is there a cost benefit for doing that through augmentation? Is there a way for me to, I don't know, make my budget look sweet?
Absolutely. And I think that's the other part of it is help desk. Help desk, as you know, has benefits from, and we say nearshore because we don't really outsource to a different place. All of our technicians are here in Vegas. And what's nice about that is you're getting someone that speaks the language that can understand where you go through instead of being held on hold with Microsoft for like 12 hours and not understanding where you want to go with it. So what we do is we kind of sit down and understand that. So getting back to your questions, absolutely. Help desk is huge because, again, a lot of people are staffing back on their weekends and holidays because you're like, well, do I have to put in that overnight person that's really going to just kind of submit a ticket? Or do I use AI for this? What we found out is a lot of people like that human voice. And again, most of the stuff we're doing, password resets, stuff like that, onboarding, offboarding employees, stuff like that are minor details. Anything heavy lifting, we try not to do during occupational hours, right? To try to not mess up with the flow. But what's nice about that is that you have a human voice answering the phone and saying, hey, can I help you? And representing your company. And the cost benefit of that is huge. We can bring that down to, instead of you paying someone nights, weekend, holidays, we have a real reasonable price that comes in there, fits any budget. And then you have somebody on the nights, you have somebody on the weekends, and you can kind of have that breath of fresh air to say, okay, it's not someone that's going to just answer the phone and just take a message. It's actually someone's going to try to do the work, and they have access to your systems to do so through a secure channel, of course, but also they're understanding your environment. They're understanding the people you work with. So you're building those relationships as an IT manager that, or IT leader, that you're kind of coming in there and you're saying, hey, my team, I feel confident. I can leave on the weekends. I can leave on the holidays and I'm fully covered and it's not going to break the bank. And what's nice about that is that, as you know, John, like it's, trying to fill an overnight spot is not, is a little difficult, right? You got scheduling, you got
Yeah.
sick days, you got holidays, you really need three people to do that. And if we come in there for a quarter of the price for one person, I think it really benefits the operations overall.
Well, it's huge because, like you said, I mean, that graveyard shift is always difficult, and it's a backbreaker for your staff because somebody's got to do it.
Right.
And, you're just doing your best to try to make everybody, happy in your team and everything else. So why not, right?
Exactly.
Uh, and the other thing that you mentioned, which I really like, is the fact that you know the industry, you know the systems, because we live in such a niche world. And I know you work outside of the gaming industry as well. You have
Sure.
other companies, but you, your staff understands IGT. It understands Aristocrat. It understands all the different,
Absolutely.
big boys and little systems we deal with. So it makes, that even 10 times better for us because the last time we wanted to do, and remember the first time everybody went to doing this kind of stuff, it was there was a couple companies out there. See, oh well, but there was a couple companies out there that were big companies, and you call, and they would be just they knew Windows,
Right.
and that was it. You know, they didn't understand anything about how anything works together or any of it.
Right.
All that being said, where do you see like the most resistance?
Yeah, I think mainly we're seeing the resistance is just the trust, right? I mean, there's still a trust in the gaming environment, right? You want to keep everything in your four walls. You want to, you don't want anything outside of that. But as security's gotten better and as the industry's grown, we are dealing with more outside agencies to help support us to grow smart, but not, sideways, so to speak. So we want to make sure, your team is thin, agile, can jump on everything. And how do we do that, right? And just kind of understand that piece of it. So the biggest piece is just the trust factor, right? And especially, we work two models, right? One is, hey, you know what? You don't have like an IT leader, we're just kind of come in there and just do everything. And we do that with a few sports books in towns as well as a couple hotels and casinos. But then we have another model which works really good is with an IT manager. So we have an IT manager, IT director like yourself, John, which is CIO, and they're saying, hey, instead of you going out and hiring five people for a help desk, I need to get a network engineer, I need a system engineer. You're saying I kind of only need like one or two people like around me to kind of help me out with kind of guidance. And then you're guiding the ship, right? You're the captain. You're saying, hey, I want to be secure. I want to be compliant. I want to have all the upgrades. I want to do knock. I want to have patching. I want to have security. And you rely on us for that. So then we manage all that for us. You tell us, hey, we need someone here. We need someone there. We give you reports every month that says, hey, all these computers are, compliant. These are non-compliant. We've reached out to these people. We're not getting we need some help on that instance. But we've found that to be really more successful for us because again, you guys are guiding the ship. We know gaming, we understand it, but at the end of the day, you're the face of the company. You are the leader of that, and we don't want to discredit that. We'd rather be on that kind of side seat of driving that to success and making sure you're 100% compliant and you can sleep at night. You're secure, you're compliant, and we're going to watch, monitor everything while you have that instead of you hiring this SOC team, a knock team, a help desk team, and next thing you know, budgets are through the roof.
You're over exaggerating about my ability to sleep at night. Um, I, this doesn't turn off, unfortunately. I really need to work on that. Um, so, is there, I mean, you work with other industries, but mostly gaming, but other industries as well. And do you see this as a trend? Because what I find is if I ever want to see the trends in the IT world, I just look outside of our industry because we're so slow to adopt things because of regulations and other things that I just look out at the other, and then I come back and spew that out, and I sound like a genius. But in your opinion or what you've seen out there, is this really becoming a trend, doing staff augmentation like this?
It's becoming a huge trend, especially in the healthcare medical field, because they're seeing that, hey, do I really need to, bring on this heavy IT staff? Now, can we work with somebody that says, hey, I just have an IT director, kind of gives me that kind of guidance where I need to go, HIPAA compliance, all that kind of scenario, and then we kind of backfill that, and that's where we're seeing a lot of the growth that the law industry, attorneys, veterinarian offices, stuff like that are really growing towards that. Because again, do the math. I mean, for an IT leader, you have one cost, but then for the managers and you have the IT help desk and all that, kind of just compiles everything. What's nice about us is that when you buy like a seat license from us, that includes all your cybersecurity tools, that includes all your knock services, and also includes, preventive maintenance, such as, hey, we're monitoring, we're doing a lot of the IAM, we're getting notified if there's impossible travel going on with somebody opening trying to get into a Microsoft account. We're monitoring all of that for you. So they're seeing the benefit. The hard part for the casino industry, again, is just, what I've noticed is that a lot of my, counter, companies that are out there. We know gaming, and the thing is not okay. Great, we know IGT, Aristocrat, we know all that stuff. It's timing, as you know, John. Like you've been in casinos, like they want something now. Your GM calls you, he wants it now, he wants it immediately, right? That's where we benefit because my team knows that. All my guys are ex-gaming people. They all know that. One of my guys, ex-IT director for the Downtown Grand, another guy's ex-IT for House Advantage. So, I mean, they've all been IT leaders, so they understand the importance of how quickly we need to be on the spot to get things rectified. You won't find that in a lot of the other MSPs out there because they just think it's it's a healthcare or it's a office, it'll be open tomorrow, we can get to it tomorrow kind of scenario. And we know in our life, John, there is no tomorrow. It's now or it's yesterday, right? Kind of scenario. And I think that's where we come in benefit is that we're showing them that, hey, we're very reactive. You send an email, we're going to get a response within 2 to 3 minutes, and you're going to get a live person probably deployed or on the phone within that 2 to 3 minutes, maybe five at the most.
You're absolutely right. And it's funny because um, that translates into healthcare. Like you're saying, healthcare is a big, it has to be done now. I did a couple of years in healthcare back before I think Jesus was born, but it was a long time ago. And it was, yeah, I did a couple of years and it was the same. The
Yeah.
translation was very easy because it's 24/7. It's got to be done now. We can't be down ever. It has, it's just constant move. Which is something that I think we become addicted to.
Oh,
You know,
huge adrenaline
it,
junkie, right?
yeah. So I mean, if I'm, here I am, I'm at a property now, like everyone probably watching the show, or most people watching the show. You're at a property and, you say, CMIT Solutions, Adam's a sharp guy. And I really think he's onto something. How would I start? I mean, where would I start? Would I start like, oh, maybe help desk support? Would I start in like just development? Would I start in administration? I mean, what's a good place for somebody to kind of dip their toe into staff augmentation?
Yeah, I would say just take a conscious effort about your staff that you currently have, right? Because I think that just understanding where your vulnerabilities at, because as an IT leader, John, as you know, is like you're always looking at what can fail, right? And you're always putting in, redundancy, to make sure you don't fail. So what does that look like? So if you're saying, hey, I have a network engineer, I'm not sure how far, or how long he's going to be with us. That might be an angle. Or if you're saying, hey, you know what? I just want really somebody over the weekends. I think my GM will be happy. He gets that support that he needs on the weekends and holidays instead of you pulling on a full-time FTE or two or three to support that cause. We kind of come in there and cover that piece of it. And I think just understanding where that starts out small. And I always say, start out small, just like little system administrator. I just need a guy that comes in and does all my patching. I want my IGT patch, servers patch. I want my workstations patch. That way I don't have to worry about it kind of scenario. And we just kind of formulate that. We get that into a project plan for you. We deploy it out either locally or on site. And then we kind of drive for that solution for you. But I think just understanding where your kind of deficiencies are at first, and then trying to see if you can just kind of plug somebody in. And again, with how reasonably the rates are now, you can plug somebody in really fast, get them up to going, and you'll be off to the races in no time.
It's funny that you'd say that because as you were talking about good places to start, there's that negative side that actually I I've always dealt with. I think everybody deals with. It's like you have that one, you're in that small property, you're being held hostage by the one
Yes.
system
Yeah.
administrator, the one network admin, and you know if you take that horrible step of having to let them go, that you're hosed.
Yeah.
You are you're in a world of hurt because they got the keys to the kingdom. They're the person, and you're in a rural area sometimes or something like that, and you're stuck. So this would be a great,
Absolutely.
yeah, a great way to just
We
kind of,
work with people like that to understand, like, hey, I've been pulled aside, say, hey, just understand it because we work with a solution called IT Glue. It's very famous out there. It's just a repository, right? Very secure repository. But then we start building out that template for you guys, right? So that you guys have that. If anyone ever leaves your company, you guys have that. This is yours. You guys take that with you, and then you guys have access to that portal as part of your monthly subscription costs. But you guys have that. And then what's nice about that is if you plug somebody else in, they just kind of take over that thing. They know what to go through and have access to everything inside of all your portals. It has a 2FA authentication factor to it, very secure, SOC 2 compliant. And what we're able to do is we're able to say, hey, now you have a cut sheet or a run book for your company. And that's what a lot of people don't have. And I think that's what scares you. And John, I think we've both been in that situation where, yeah, you feel like you're being held captive. And what do? You don't want to make it uncomfortable. And hey, you got to manage all this stuff. You have to write all this stuff out. But we can come in there and say, hey, we want to staff augmentate. We want to help you out, release some of this stuff. And we slowly just start getting that information and start building a repository. And now you have it. And if anything happens to the person, I always say if they win the lottery, right? Then you feel comfortable that, at the end of the day that your system's secure, someone can step in and take that over, or we can help you in the interim until you get somebody in that place.
That's fantastic. Adam, it has been great to have you here
Absolutely.
on the show. Is there any words of wisdom for the GNL folks watching the show?
No, I mean, hey, I love the industry. Jeannie's fantastic. John, some of your stories I love. I've been following you guys for years. No, it's just a great community. And, as we've all been in this community, G2E every year is like a high school reunion. And I just love it. I don't think there's any kind of words of wisdom, but I just very appreciative of the industry and to be on this side from the, more the vendor side is kind of eye-opening, but also a great experience because I'm able to provide value to our fellow casino operators as well as our other IT leaders such as yourself that are in the industry and really be able to help them out be successful. And that's my goal.
Adam, it's been great having you on here. Really enjoyed the talk. And everyone, if you have any chance, call Adam at CMIT Solutions. I'm sure he'd love to talk to you about staff augmentation, definitely, and 1,000 other things they do. Um, Everyone, this is John Cash Philippi with Gaming and Leisure Voice. It's been great having you here. You all
Thanks,
have a
John.
great day.